Moving on with Proverbs 31 Bible study, and I'm at verse 24 today. And verse 24 says, "She maketh fine linen, and selleth it, and delivereth girdles unto the merchant." So I dug into it, learned a little bit more about linen. I know what I think of as linen in modern times. And so I decided to learn a little bit more about it. What did it represent in biblical times? How was it made? And I know I've mentioned it before, but it is made from flax. So it is plant-based, which I guess that just never clicked with me, that I didn't realize it's plant-based, but it is. Linen means whiteness. As in they share Greek roots, is what I'm trying to say, the root word. They share a Greek root, so it's whiteness or purity. Interesting, right? I also learned that there's different types of linen. The more common everyday linen is apparently what I know of, what I have seen. It's white, it has a texture, I don't know how to describe it, but it obviously has a texture. But then there is fine linen, which can be mistaken for silk. The thread that it is made with actually looks translucent. So different levels and grades of linen. And then the fine linen was tended to be worn by royalty, by the very wealthy, and the priests. So Our Lady, the Proverbs 31 woman, is making fine linen, not to be confused with common linen. She's providing an upper class product to the merchants. And then a girdle. I mean, come on, we all know about our granny's girdle. We have plenty of jokes made about it, but what was a girdle in biblical times? Many, many versions, many varieties, different uses. They're used in battle. They're used as undergarments. They're also used, though, more commonly by women. Of course, it is banded about the waist, similar to a wide belt, but many times it had pockets. So it was used as a woman's pockets, or like her purse. They would intricately fold within the folds of the girdle. They would have different pockets, different uses. So I believe the way I understood one description is that it had the ends of the girdle that would be hanging down, and there would be pockets in the ends of the girdle that would hold coins. So very interesting. I didn't know these things. I have seen them in videos and pictures and different things, and just weren't aware of what they were called. In my mind, they were a belt, but it's technically called a girdle. They could be embroidery. They could be very fancy, including precious stones and gems. So it was very interesting to me to see that a girdle is more than just what Granny used to wear. So at first when I read this, I'll be honest, I was a little bit down about it. I'm like, Lord, am I supposed to be making something? Am I supposed to be making a tangible product? I don't feel like I have that gift. That's not my gift, to make a tangible product. And again, this is referring to her family's finances. She's obviously assisting in those finances. And so I thought to myself, how can I do this? I try to do the best I can to help my husband with our finances as far as how I spend, but I don't add monetary value or cash to our bank account. And like I said, I'm not gonna lie, at first it kind of had me down. It just had me a little bit okay, what next? And as I sat there and pondered on it a little bit, I was reminded of a few months ago, right after our move, and I finally had time to sit down. I had not had time to sit down for months. I have worked for years. At the end of my career, if you would have it, there was the sale / loss of our business that I went through. Of course, that all happened right about the time it was back to school. Back to school barely got over with, and we made the decision to sell our home, which meant prepping for listing. Then it became showing it and packing and then moving. And so for months, maybe well over a year, it was just a literal rat race for me. And I finally had time to sit down and, sit down. As much as we moms have time to sit down, but I'm talking more of a psychological thing. I had time to just decompress, to start processing all the changes in my lives, all the things that had happened over the last several months. And at the same time, I remember feeling very discouraged because I was no longer contributing financially. I have literally contributed to our finances for years, off and on, various ways. I have done that for years. And my husband felt very convicted, very checked. He wanted me at home. And by God's grace, I've gotten that opportunity. And I absolutely love it. I really do. And I don't take it for granted because I've been on the other side. And so I am thankful for that opportunity. But it became a mental battle for me that I no longer contributed with literal cash. I felt like all I was doing was draining the cash. And it was a very big mind battle that I have only recently been able to overcome. And part of that was the reel that I shared prior to this Bible study. And it's talking about how that staying at home as a mom is not easy. It's talking about how staying at home is work. I mean, you think about it, and I had to stop and think about it. If I was paying someone to keep my house clean, how expensive would that be? If I was paying someone to keep my children, how much would that cost? If I had a chef, how much would that cost? If I had a housekeeper, on and on and on. All these roles that I play, chauffeur, planner. I mean, all these things that if I was paying someone and it was a respectable position, it would be very expensive. So I had to change my mindset, and I started looking at my home and my family as my job. And as cold and as hard as that seemed, it totally was the mind shift that I needed. Instead of just being the stay-at-home mom who sits around and eats bonbons all day, I started realizing, no, this is my job. And while I may not be literally taking cash from one place and putting it into our account, I have realized that I am saving my family money. We don't eat out anywhere near as much as we used to when I worked. Of course, a lot of the eating out was takeout, but still, takeout is almost non-existent now. And yeah, there'd be nights it'd be nice, but overall, I do a lot of cooking, and my mind shift towards cooking has changed. I see it completely different than I did a year ago. So I started realizing that even though I don't have a tangible product such as fine linen or girdles to take to a merchant and sell to bring in income, I started realizing that I can still be of an assistance to my family. I can be the best banker. I can be my family's best chef, babysitter, janitor, chauffeur, nurse. There's all those roles that I can play and be the best that I can be. And I don't want to provide my family with a second-rate product or a common product. I want to provide them with the best. Now, this sounds a little arrogant, but God gave me this family. He knew I was the best fit for this family. And so I have to put my best foot forward. Now, after I had this time to sit down and decompress, you know what? I went through a time of sitting, literally sitting, and my house paid for it. My children paid for it. My family paid because I I probably needed the time, to be quite honest, but on the other hand, it got out of balance. Things got out of balance, and I had too much time that was just sitting. And so I had to have a wake-up call one day that I needed to get up and get busy again. So having those times of rest, there's nothing wrong with those times of rest as a mom, as your chef, as your baker, all those things. You would give all those people a break. Weekends or evenings or whatever it may be, you would give them that rest. And so, yes, there's absolutely times that you need that rest as well, so that you don't become burnout, that you don't become overloaded as I was. But you've got to put it in a balance. You've got to find that balance, and only you and God can decide what that balance is. Only you and your family, your husband, and maybe it's a conversation, but maybe it's just something that you, as a woman, a godly woman, can decide on your own and realize maybe the rest is out of balance. Maybe the work is out of balance. Whatever it is, only you know and only God knows. And the two of you can take care of it. You can fix it. Because once again, you can do all things through Christ who strengthens you, right? So maybe you do make linen. I would actually really like to see some fine linen. Maybe you have some other product that you make. Again, be the best that you can be, and make sure that it is providing for your family in a way that benefits you all. For me, it just boiled down to making sure my output, whatever that output is valuable to my family. Making sure that it is of a good investment of my time, a good investment of my work, of my body, and making sure that there is a return that's going to be profitable to us, whether it's financially, literally in cash, or whether it's just simply in the time that we spend doing all the wonderful things that we do as housewives. And I say wonderful, ladies, because you got to change that mindset that it's just the boring old same. You were created for your family. God put you in this position, and He knew that you would be the best for taking care of your family, your people. They're yours for a reason. I mean, we say that all the time. This is my people. But it's true. Your people are the people within your four walls, and God gave them to you for a reason, and you've got this. You've got this, Mom. You're the best that you can do. You're the best that you can be because God put you here. Now just make sure that your output is valuable and will be rewarding to your family as well. So that's my ramblings and thoughts on verse 24. I don't know. Maybe my vision, and this is something that I've been battling, maybe my visions of these things are completely out of whack. Maybe I'm just weird. Maybe I'm not. But either way, it's helping me grow. It's helping me spend my time better. It's helping me see things a little bit differently. And I hope it is for you as well. So seek the Lord. He'll guide you in these things. And as He has done for me, and He's continuing to do for me, it's not over yet. I'm not a finished work. That's why I'm still an apprentice at this thing. I'm still learning so much every day. So I pray that this was an encouragement to you. I pray that your Friday is wonderful, and have a wonderful weekend. And again, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for your feedback. If you have time today, share. I would really appreciate it. So thank you all again.